Hello, this is Chris and Magoosh, and today's Vocabulary Wednesday theme, advanced words. These are some hard ones. Starting with the word supplicate. Sounds very technical. What can it mean? Well, when you supplicate, you beg someone for something. Another good word is beseech. To beg, please, please, give me the secret words that I will see test day on my GRE. I supplicate you. You're almost like getting down on your hands and knees and begging. That's the meaning or the gist of supplicate. Next up, a weird word. How do you pronounce it? I don't know. Is it Gauche or is it Gauche? It is Gauche. And what does it mean? It means awkward and clumsy, usually in a social context. So for instance, let's say I'm going to a fancy 5-star restaurant and I sit down there and I go, hey, let me get out my napkin here, and instead of putting it on my lap, I just kind of toss it to the side. I crack my knuckles and say, hey, this place looks up pretty fancy, eh? That's pretty gauche behavior. Of course, you don't have to behave gauche on the test itself. You just have to know that gauche means socially awkward. Next up, it's mawkish. Now this sounds like, if someone just said it, you would think to mock someone, to make fun of them. So if you're mawkish, you're mocking someone. But this word is actually spelled M-A-W-K. So it's not the same as mocking someone. To be mawkish is to be super sentimental and cheesy. So you think of a lot of those 80s love songs like, I can't live without you ever. And just like, oh my God, this is so over the top and cheesy. That is an example of mawkish. And I apologize for my tone-deaf singing. Next up is supine. Now this is an interesting word. You might have even heard of this word or used it in the context of your body position. If you are supine, you are lying down. But on the GRE, if you see this word, it doesn't exactly mean that. It means it more figuratively. So if someone is not taking action, if they are being confronted by something really negative, and in a sense they're just lying down and letting that negative thing roll over them and push them around, that person is being supine. Next up, difficult word. It is pronounced fecund. Make sure you pronounce that B at the end, or someone might think you were trying to say something very differently, but we won't go there. Where we will go, though, is into the definition of the word, which means fertile, producing a lot. So if the fields this year are nice and fallow and the rain came, they are fecund, ready to produce lots of crops. Now, we also use this word figuratively when it comes to creative things. For instance, Picasso was an extremely fecund artist. He would just sit there on a canvas and go woo, 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 and it would be a masterpiece. Voila. And finally, we have didactic. What does that word mean? It's even hard to say. Well, it's a fancy way of saying or describing something or someone that tries to impart a lesson, or in other words, to try to teach you something. But it has a slightly negative connotation. It usually means in a very heavy-handed way. So for instance, if I was to talk about didactically, it would be, make sure you remember the subtle connotations of this word. It is important when wielding the English lexicon effectively that one remembers such nuances. That's very didactic and not at all fun, but we do it the fun way, and I'll see you next time. Did you know that Magoosh has a free vocabulary builder mobile app that's been featured on BuzzFeed? Well, it's true. And if you want some of this yourself, then click on the link below. Of course, if you want more vocabulary videos, then check out the ones on the left.